In this quick tutorial, we're going to take a look at how to duotone images and how to mask complex shapes in Figma. So we can move from something like this image to a cropped duotone image like this. So I'm just starting with a photo I grabbed off of Unsplash, which is a royalty-free photography site. So I've just downloaded this image and dropped it into Figma. And the first thing I want to do is talk about how to duotone. So unlike Photoshop, we don't have a whole lot of options in Figma for photo manipulation. In order to do something like that, we have to use community plugins. So here's how we would do that in Figma. So I have my image selected down here in the bottom toolbar. I'm going to go to the Actions menu, and then you'll probably start on All over here, maybe in Assets. We want to go over here to the right to Plugins and Widgets. You can see I've already searched before to find this one. To duotone something, I like to use the app called Duotones. Then when I click on that, it runs it. You might have to click run on your machine if you haven't run it before. And then we get this little window. So it gives us two different colors. And what this is saying is, what are the two colors that you want to map luminosity to in your image? So in our case, if we want to work with one color ink, we want one of these colors to be either full black or white, and the other color to be the color ink that we're using. So in this case, for example, if I want my darkest spots in this image to be black, I could select one of these boxes, I don't remember which is which, and then click on an object of that color, or the other way rather, click on the swatch and then click on the box. And then here, I could do the same thing for green. So now I have going from black to green. So when I click on my image and then I click apply, what this is going to do is look at the brightness of each pixel here. And for the darkest spots, it's going to apply all the way of one color, and the lightest spots, it's going to apply all the way the other color. And then everywhere in between, it will map things along that range. So you can see here, this converted it to one color. We could reverse that if we needed to. I'm going to first remove that fill that it's added over here. And I'll just show you how to run that again. And you'll see it does the reverse. For white, we could do the same thing. Maybe I want my darkest spots to be green and my lightest spots to be white. And you'll see how this is much closer to the end result that I have over here. So that's how to duotone something. Now let's take a look at how to crop in Figma. So we don't have a background removal tool, but we do have the pen tool, just like we have in our Adobe design softwares. And there's kind of a trick for how to easily get these complex shapes by using the curvature tool. And this trick also works in something like Photoshop or Illustrator. So I'm first going to grab my pen, and then we're going to rough in the shape here. So I'm not going to add any curves at first. I'm just going to add points on the ends of any curve. So for example, any spot where the line would change angle, like here, this curve on the neck, I'm going to add a point right here where that curve changes from moving to the right to moving to the left. And then when we're done, we'll push this curve into place with another point. So I'm going to do kind of a rough job here, but once you see where I'm placing these points, that idea will probably make a little more sense. There's some areas here where it's hard to tell what's the bird and what's the branch. But you'll see here the tail, I'm cutting straight across these bumps in the feathers, and I'm going to push these points in later. So I'm doing kind of a sloppy job here. You could do a much better job if you wanted to. I just want to give you an idea of how this works. There's a little curve here. We change directions here. And we have a big bump up here, an indent here, and then head for the rest of this. So if I add a fill to this, you can see this does not look like a bird. What we're going to do is we're going to take these points. Maybe I should make this red just so you can see it a little bit easier. Maybe red's not the right color. Let's try blue. So if I enter my edit object mode by double clicking on that, you can also get to that by selecting the path and then selecting this icon up here at object. We're going to use this tool down here, the bend tool. You can get to that quickly by pressing Command on your keyboard, or it's probably Alt or Control on a Windows machine. And then at the spots in between the points I've added, I'm going to click and drag up on that path, and you'll see how that adds a bend in there. And if there's any spots where I need to adjust it a little more, like here I might need to, I can by grabbing these handles. Like let's pretend I'm having a little bit of trouble here. I could still grab the ends of these handles on the anchor point and adjust them as I need to. I just want to make sure that I'm just inside of the silhouette here. See how this is giving us some trouble over here. Might help to add another point in. Then in these little spots here, I can just pull these curves out. Usually it's more noticeable if you have too much room on the outside than too much room on the inside. So always err on the inside. And then if you have any sharp points where, maybe the shape changes direction too suddenly, like right here, you can always select the anchor point and then adjust the radius over here. And we'll just get the head in here. That's pretty close. Okay, so now that I've added all the curves in, I'm going to add my fill in. So you see now we have more of a bird silhouette. I'm going to send this shape to the back, so underneath my photograph. I can do that by right click, sending to the back, and then I'm going to make sure that I have both my photograph and my shape selected by clicking and dragging around both of them. And now we can use the icon up here, use as mask, or you can right click and select use as mask here. And then only the parts of the photograph where the shape is behind the photograph will show through when you're done. So that's how you can do masking in Figma along with applying a duotone.